Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Rounding Third, brought to you by Podbean.com. Find us online at roundingthird.podbean.com. Check out our Facebook page. Give us a like on there. That's Rounding Third. And you can also find us on YouTube. All of our episodes are archived, going back to numero uno, and that is Rounding Third 1. That's Rounding Third and the number 1. This is Zach Delide, and alongside me is my colleague,
Chris Wilson here. What's going on? We have a lot of interesting things to talk about on today's show. We'll be talking about some trade rumors in the MLB, as well as a very interesting thing that happened with the Boston Red Sox, and we'll start with that story. So we got a bit of confusion coming into the Red Sox organization. Apparently, there's a rumor that Clay Buchholz was throwing a spitball during one of the games, and that was brought about by the Blue Jays broadcaster Jack Morris, who last week said that Clay Buchholz was throwing a spitball, and I guess the speculation was that there was something on his arm that maybe he wiped on the ball. Doesn't know if it's some kind of foreign substance, as in maybe like a Vaseline or something like spit or sweat or anything like that, obviously, to help him out. And, that's where everybody goes into the rumors where, is this guy cheating? Is there something going on behind the scenes where Buchholz isn't playing fair baseball? And there's a lot of other speculations out there from a Toronto radio station, Sportsnet 590 The Fan. They said Buchholz was absolutely cheating, and the Red Sox dispute this accusation.
Yeah, and Buchholz himself came out and said that he wasn't, using any kind of foreign substances during the game, which, of course, if you're in that situation, what are you going to say as well? But from what I've seen, I've seen the video highlights. He definitely had some form of liquid on his arm. Personally, I think it was just, sweat or maybe some water or something. It didn't look like a gel, like a Vaseline. It looked more like a liquid. But any kind of advantage that he would be getting from that is not considered to be fair in the game of baseball. I know that some nights the ball, as Clay Buchholz says, just feels more like you're throwing a cue ball from a pool table, and then just that little bit of liquid can help with the grip. So even that little slight advantage there would obviously not be condoned in the game of baseball as being fair.
And if this was true that he did this, what kind of violation, would the Red Sox ensue on him?
Well, he would probably, if he was proven guilty of throwing the spitball, I would say he would probably be looking at some form of fine. I don't think it would be too big, and maybe a suspension of like a start or two. Nothing too major. Something along the lines of a little slap in the wrist, just to let him know that he did something he wasn't supposed to do. I don't think you're going to see him get thrown out for an extended period of time or anything like that. And the last story we have today on this episode of Rounding Third, brought to you by Podbean.com, we're going to talk about some potential trade candidates coming up. Around the corner is the trade deadline, so we like to just take this time to stop, reflect, take a look at what's been going on around the league, see how some guys are doing, and see who may wind up in a different uniform by the end of the season. Number 1 on this list is going to be Alex Rios, the White Sox right fielder. Wilson, want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, originally in 2009, Rios was acquired by the Sox. He was a waiver claim from the Blue Jays. And then 2 years after, Toronto signed him to a 7-year, $69.83 million extension that included a club option for 2015 at $13.5 million. He was basically 28 at the time, and he had some pretty decent seasons for the Blue Jays. And then, 2009 was probably one of the worst in baseball for him so far. And, they're in the middle of that playoff race. Chicago decided to roll the dice and go for it and kind of take a chance on him. Rios has been up and down throughout his seasons. Sometimes some painful appearances at the plate. Other times, 13 home runs during one season, 11 stolen bases. So probably more of a bust than not.
I don't know if I'd go so far as to call him a bust. Last year he hit 25 home runs, batted .304, drove in 91 runs. This year he's off to a similarly hot start. He's got 8 home runs already. He's batting .281 with 17 RBI, and still got plenty of time left to play. He's pretty much entering the prime of his career, if not, in those prime years right now. So he still has plenty left to give. So, look for him to be sent on to contender at some point, maybe later this season before the trade deadline, as the White Sox are quickly falling out of contention. One of our fellow sports media professionals, Bill Madden of the New York Daily News, came out with a story that said the Mets might take a good hard look at Alex Rios in spite of the fact that the team is unlikely to make a postseason run. I don't know if I would agree to bring in Alex Rios at this stage. I mean, the Mets are kind of in a rebuilding mode. Yes, they really don't have much going on in the outfield right now, but they've got some pretty young prospects who are looking pretty good. You know, Brandon Nimmo was a first-round pick a year or two ago. Juan Lagares was just called up, and he made a terrific catch to rob an opponent of a home run the other night that I saw. So, I mean, they've got some pretty good players there. They just got to get on the schneid and start hitting the ball. Alex Rios could definitely, bring some pop to that lineup, but I don't know if I would give up, too much to go get him.
Yeah, I think teams might be kind of scared away from that, maybe looking at him because obviously the White Sox have had not the best seasons in the last couple of years or basically ever, so I think that might scare them away a little bit too because, if they see that the White Sox are still bad, even with him performing at his best, they're going to be kind of shying away from what he has to offer. Now, out of the Miami Marlins organization, 23-year-old Giancarlo Stanton is being looked at by other teams. And, according to a rumor of CSN Philly, the Philadelphia Phillies are, inquiring about having Stanton on their team.
Yeah, and I've also heard Stanton actually linked to the New York Mets as well. They are just looking everywhere for outfield help. Now, Stanton, he's currently out until June with a hamstring injury. And he struggled before he even hit the disabled list. He was batting .227 with only 3 home runs and 9 RBI so far this season. 1 year removed from a 37 home run campaign.
And we'd like now to bring in our Phillies expert from the street here, Daniel Quinn, if you'd like to report on this, big guy.
I'm all for it. I honestly think that would be huge for the Phillies. They have no power in the outfield. That's what killed them. For the longest time, the power is what actually made them push and score runs. Now it's like they're playing this small ball, which isn't them. So they need a bat like that, especially when Howard's not performing.
Yeah, especially when you play in that tiny ballpark that the Phillies have.
That's bigger than the Mets ballpark.
No, definitely not.
2-foot walls in the back.
Yeah, I just don't understand that. I mean, it's like playing in a sandbox.
I disagree. That's like the new flavor of all new stadiums are smaller. Everyone wants to see home runs. You seen the new Yankees one, obviously?
Yes, I have.
It's like their right field fence is like it's
wall.
just like a airport. Everything sails right over there. It's insane.
And there you have it. Yeah, I mean, I do have to agree though with hitting a combination of hitting in that ballpark with hitting in that particular lineup with Utley, Howard, even Mayberry comes up with a big hit now and then. Of course, you got Ruiz coming back from his suspension. I think Giancarlo Stanton would really provide a solid boost and a big power bat in the middle of that lineup. So, I mean, look for that. Look for Rios to be on the move. I'm sure those aren't the only two guys who are going to be, calling a new team home here after the July 31st trade deadline, but I'm sure we'll be keeping you posted on that as the episodes of Rounding Third keep on coming.
That's going to do it for us this week on Rounding Third, brought to you by Podbean.com. You can find us online, roundingthird.podbean.com. You can find us on Facebook, Rounding Third, and on our YouTube page, Rounding Third 1. That's Rounding Third 1, and you can check out all of our archived episodes, starting from episode uno. I'm Chris Wilson. Alongside of me here today was
Zach Delyden, and a special shout out and thank you to our third guy here in the shadows, Daniel Quinn, today.
We appreciate your expert knowledge of the Philadelphia Phillies organization. Thank you for listening, and we will see you guys next week for our next episode. And here we are, signing off.
Counting all different nights.